If you guys are looking for some cheap coins on FC25, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap, and reliable. And if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. So, what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. Now in today's video guys, we have some tactics and player roles for the 4-4-2 if you are struggling in FC25. The 4-4-2 is always a reliable formation because it can be very effective in the attack with its direct approach, and it's also very solid defensively with those two banks of 4, making it very difficult to break down. So it is a really good go-to formation if you are struggling, and I am hoping that this will help you out. Just a quick note as well, before we do get started, we're using the formation with the 2 DMs as opposed to the 2 centre mids, as I think it gives us a bit better defence, but yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, with all that aside guys, let's get right into the video and I hope you enjoy. Okay then guys, so starting off with the tactics, ensure that the preset is on custom. This is so that you can make all of the changes that you require. If you have it on one of EA's presets, you cannot, change all the things that you would like. So I think it's best to have it on custom. This is just so you can make all of the changes that you want to make and you shouldn't have any issues. The formation, like I said, is the 4-4-2 holding. So it's the one with the 2 DMs as opposed to the 2 centre mid. So I hope that clears that up for you guys. A really solid formation to use. So this is the one you are going to want to select. And then for the build-up style guys, I like to go with balance. Now the reason I like balance is because it feels like I have more control when I am building up. So when I use balance guys, I feel like I have a lot more variety. Sometimes my players will come short and other times they'll make those runs as required. So it kind of like mixes and matches the counter and short passing tactic into one. That being said, if you prefer short passing because that's your style, or like counter as well, then feel free to use that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. This is just, a general guide, and I think balance for the most part is the best and the most reliable. So just pick what you're comfortable with, but it's not really that important at the same time. Now, for the defensive approach, again, this is one that you can pick for yourself. It doesn't have to be the exact one I've put here. But if you're wondering why I've selected what I've selected high because originally I was using balance when I was running tactics in this game. And the thing about balanced was there was just too much space for the opponent, and I didn't like that. It felt like they just had way too much time on the ball. There was a lot of space for them to attack, and my midfield felt very far away from my defense, so I didn't like that. And then I tried aggressive, and it was all right, but it felt like I wasn't really in control because my players were always pressing out of, they were always pressing 100% of the time. But at the same time, I did quite like having that higher line too. So what I did was I just settled on this high preset. Because it's like the best of both worlds. You have like a high defensive line, but you also have more control over when you press your opponent. You can also manually adjust the line if there's a specific value you want, or like I said, just pick one that is better for you. Some people might like deep, balanced, or aggressive. It doesn't really matter. Just ensure you're using one that you are comfortable with. Now, moving on to the important part, the player roles. So, without the ball, this is what it looks like, and this is what I was on about when I said it's one of the better formations in the game, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware, but essentially in FC25, whichever formation you use to base your tactics off is the default way that you will defend. So, there's not really going to be a way to change this, so the 4-4-2 holding is our defensive shape. You can see just the bog standard, that's how it will be. So it is really good for that because you obviously have a nice defensive shape and you can do a lot in attack as well. So that's one of the reasons it's so good. But if you're more interested in what it looks like on the ball, this is a bit more what we've got going. So I'm going to quickly talk through it and explain why I do what I do. So on the left striker, I have Heung-min Son. So a very fast player, very good player, good at shooting, good at finishing chances. So I have him on the advanced forward. Now this is because he's got that ++, and I really do enjoy this. Basically they do a bit of everything, sometimes they will come short to help build up, other times they'll make those runs. They basically do a bit of everything. They're a very versatile attacker, as you can see in that role description there. So you are going to want to get somebody with that role plus or ++ if possible, or just switch to a different role like poacher. But I think advanced forward is the best on this player here, especially since we can do like all them finesses. Now on this right striker, we have Griezmann, and I popped him on the false 9 role. It's the main reason I'm using Griezmann, because he has that ++ version. Now, the good thing about false 9 is in a formation where you don't have like a central attacking midfielder, so there's nobody like really creating, there's no playmaker in that central spot. Having a false 9 helps because this player will drop a bit deeper to assist in building up. So essentially, Griezmann's just going to sometimes drop a bit deeper, get on the ball, and it leaves space for Son to make those runs and stuff like that. So I like having a false 9 in a true striker layout, and we're using Griezmann because he does have that ++ as well. Now for the right mid and the left mid, something I've been really enjoying since I was using that 4-2-3-1 is having these players on the wide playmaker role. Now the reason I like wide playmaker is because they seem to get into really good positions, you know. Sometimes they're out wide like wingers, I've noticed, they usually start out there. And then other times when you're on the ball, they transition into that awkward narrow spot, which is really difficult to defend, you know, priming them up for like Trivellas or finesses or even just some nice quick passing. So this wide playmaker role I've actually really been enjoying. I think you get a bit more out of the players than on something like inside forward or winger. I think it's just really nice to use. But yeah, that's why I've been using what we're using on the left mid and the right mid there. Now moving on to the two DMs, I like having them both on holding. Now the reason I like holding is because they do act as like those guardians in front of the defense. So essentially when we're on the ball, when we have them on this holding role, they kind of just sit a little bit further back than the attacking players, so the right mid, the left mid, and the two strikers. And this is good both defensively, because obviously if we lose out on possession, we've got these two here ready to, you know, regain possession. But it's also good on the attack because there will be a lot of times where you need to cut back because your opponent is using like a high line or something, or they're pressing you. And it's nice just to have these two DMs there, just to have that option to pass to and keep things ticking. It's really nice to reset and keep control of the game. So I enjoy having them both on holding, but I'm well aware somebody might like deep lying as well. I just think holding is really nice to use, and I do recommend it. Obviously, if you can get somebody with like the roll ++ or the plus, then that is perfect, but don't worry too much about that if you can't. Just ensure that they are competent in pretty much every aspect of midfield. For the right back and the left back, now I popped them both on wing back. Now the reason I've done this is because when we have them on wide playmakers, so we're talking about these right mids and left mids, when we have them on wide playmaker, they're not always occupying that wider space. They're not always, you know, fully stretching out the opposition defense. So having these fullbacks on the wing back role means we're always going to have that width when we're going forward. So we've always got that switcher play, we've always got that wider option, and it makes us a lot more unpredictable in attack. We go for the wingback as opposed to something like attacking wingback, because attacking wingback can be a lot more risky, I would say. If you lose out on possession and you have an attacking wing back, a lot of the time they will struggle to cover that space in enough time to stop an attack. So wing back's pretty good, really nice and balanced. You can still manually send them on runs too. But yeah, that's why we have that. For the two centre-backs, I have them both on the defender role. I think it's the most reliable. I don't really see any reason to use stopper or ball-playing defender. But if you guys want to use that, that is also absolutely fine. For the goalkeeper, you can do sweeper keeper or goalkeeper. Again, not really important. Just know that with sweeper keeper can be a little bit more risky. But yeah, guys, essentially they are the tactics that we're using for the 4-4-2. I hope they have helped you out. If they have, please be sure to drop this video a thumbs up, as it does help me out massively. Sub to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos, of course. And don't forget to turn on those notifications. And yeah, well, that's all, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys, and take care.